Clinic owners, patient ambassadors, patient coordinators, team members of clinics and hospitals around the world, thank you for joining us on the GCR webinar number 2. 3, 2, 2. I'm very sorry that it's not live. We tried to make it live last week, but we found out that including screenshots and help texts in these videos it's gonna help you get more out of them. So this will be live a few hours later. I'm very happy to have with me this week Maria, who is our head of marketing at GCR here in Central Europe. So she's going to give us a few insights on a couple of the questions that you clinics have asked during last week. So be sure, if you have any more questions after this, be sure to send them to contact@gcr.org so that we can put them into next week's video. Great, I'll go straight ahead with, we got a lot of feedback from the last video that we made on use of scripts in communication with patients, especially in the early stages of patient inquiry. So when a patient contacts your clinic, either by telephone, by social media, or by email, I'd like to have knee surgery, I'd like to have dental implant surgery, I'd like to have stem cell therapy, what's the cost? And these quite quick and short emails, and how to reply to them straight away with scripts, and also on the telephone. Now scripts, as we've said, Maria has written a lot of articles on that in the past on our blog. Scripts are so important because it's the voice of your clinic. It ensures that whoever is communicating on behalf of your clinic, from your new junior staff who've been in the clinic one day to your 20-year experts, surgeons, all of them are communicating the same message if you have standard scripts that they use when they communicate with patients. That's the first thing. And number 2 is you can test them, you can tweak them so that you know which scripts work better and which against scripts that don't work as good. We at GCR, we've analyzed a lot of scripts from a lot of medical types, and today I'll share a couple of those best practice ideas with you. And also, as a bonus for this webinar, we'll actually send out some documents to clinics to have a look at this, at the way that we advise the clinic should answer patient questions. Great. Should I go straight into scripts?
Yeah, I think
okay,
so.
Easy thing. So I'd like to explain to you the best practices for how to answer any patient who's contacting you either through social media, email, telephone, or whatever. These are the 5 tips, best practices on how to answer that email. Okay, so number 1 is the greeting. Okay, you have usually, they say in marketing, you have 30 seconds when somebody looks at your advertisement or your website or whatever for them to make a decision whether to stay there or to go away. And you don't want them to switch off. You want to capture that patient with the best greeting you can, and in that first sentence explain that you are the right person in the right place at the right time for you to talk to them. And the thing is, people like doing business with people rather than robots with automated scripts, automated answers. Let them know, even if you are using a script, there's a real person, a real expert person behind this telephone call, behind this email that can answer their question, that they're fully competent to answer. So something like, hi, I'm Daniel. Lovely, thank you very much for taking the time to contact us today. I'm head of St. Jude's Hospital and head of the International Patient Department. I'm here to give you all the information you need about your treatment, how long it will take, how much it will cost, and answer any questions you may have. Would you like to go ahead with that? Would you like me to explain a little bit more? And hopefully the patient's going to say yes. And you move into step number 2, which I like to call diagnostics. Diagnostics, that's it, yeah. Okay. Diagnostics, very easy way to let the patient also know that this is not an automated email, an automated response, and that you are interested in the patient. Now, most of our top clinics are looking today into evidence-based medicine, personalized medicine, and if you learn something personal about that patient, you already have a step up against every other clinic that the patient is contacting, because you may know, their fear points, their motivation point. Why do they want their hip replacing? Is it because they're hoping to go for a walk along a nice sunset beach and they can't do that at the moment? Look for motivations, look for fear, look for the pain factors, do a full diagnostics, and in an email I'd simply do this. If in this email is simply anything that doesn't answer your question, let me know right away. Or feel free to send me any photographs of yourself, feel free to send me any x-rays, CT scans, any other scans that will help me create a better picture about your situation. Move to the next step with the patient. Now that's already just 2 paragraphs. Now I did speak to a couple of clinics last week, and all of us agree that long emails are always better than short emails. Many clinics have tested it, but for a patient, they're making a huge step in their life when they have treatment. And also, if it's a treatment that costs a lot of money and a lot of time, they're not going to make that decision on a two sentence email. Make sure your emails are long, but remember that they're going to be maybe looking at your response on a mobile phone. So not too long, but long enough for you to gain their trust, for them to know, like, and trust you. We covered that in the last webinar. So number 3, then you're going to go into your bit, which every clinic, I guess, knows how to do and do well, is the presentation, short presentation of the treatment and of the clinic and of your doctors. So I use dentistry for an example. The patient's looking for dental implants. It could be spinal implants, it could be any type of hair implants, it could be any type of implants, but let's use dentistry. So I'd say your dental implants would be done in our clinic by a surgeon who has 20 years of experience. He has 5,000 implants already placed in his experience behind him. Our clinic is well known in the region for this. Treatment will take, it's done over 3 stages, over 3 to 6 months. You'll be required to come with 3 visits. The typical price for this type of treatment is anywhere from 8,000 to 10,000 euro, depending on the type of patient case that you are, which we will determine in the first consultation. Prove your expertise. Use your 4 pillars in GCR here: expertise, facilities, services, and patient feedback available. Persuade the patient, but don't make it pages and pages long. Forget about attachments in emails or on social media, because often they're perceived as viruses. If you have a lot of information you want to put in the email, use links to the information instead and put that on your website. So the sales presentation, or the sales presentation, but treatment presentation part should be around 2 to 3 paragraphs.
Yeah, and you should not forget to mention the person who will be treating you. So any doctor, and with his expertise, so patient is sure that he will be treated well.
Exactly. And also, if you have any expert support staff around, be sure to mention them as well, because they do make a huge difference in the level of expertise or quality you can provide in the clinic. Right, I'm going for number 4, which is usually objections. By objections, I mean things that are stopping the patient choose your clinic. If you're a clinic that treats patients from abroad, major objection is usually distance. So say in this sentence already, our clinic is very easy to reach. You can reach it by this way. Here's a link on how to reach us. Maybe they say the price is too much. Not a typical objection. You can go straight. The typical procedure price in this region for what we do is this. Here are some other clinics you can compare us with, and this is why we are better, and this is why it costs this much in our clinic. Delete objections. Pain, big one in medicine. Will it hurt? How will I be in a lot of pain? Demonstrate to them the pain experience of former patients, so they have a real transparent view. But also, if you're a pain-free clinic, let them know that. Deal with any objections. 90% of objections from patients are repeated. They're the same. But it's easy to put 3 or 4 sentences together that deal with objections of patients in the email. However, don't forget, I put usually a little sentence there. If you have any other fear or any other question that you feel is not answered in this message to you, please let me know. You want them to know that there is still a real person who is answering, not a general answer, but a personalized answer behind this. And number 5 is usually the hardest part. You want to close or bring the patient to take action. So what should you do now? call the clinic, book an appointment, reply to this email, send me a photograph. I don't know what it is for you, but you need to have an action step as the last thing in your communication with the patient. And this could be done on the phone. Simply, hi, I'm Daniel, I'm here, I'm perfectly competent to help you with any of your medical needs today. How can I help you? Tell you a little bit about your personal situation. Well, this is how we deal with it in your clinic. Most patients tell us that they're afraid to come to us because you're a long way away and it might cost more than they expect. Well, that's not the case. Here's how we deal with it. And you'd like to book an appointment? Great. If you'd like to go ahead, then I'll tell you now. We've got this date, this day avoid. You're not sure yet? Take your time. In 2 days, I'm going to give you another call and we'll take it from there and answer any questions you may have, and you can book an appointment with us if you choose. A very, very simple formula, and there are a few bad examples, and I'll probably now put them on the screen so you can see them. Bad examples is, I'm Dr. Peter, implants in a spinal implant in our clinic cost €400,000, you can book tomorrow. You have not gained the patient's trust at all, and that patient is for sure looking somewhere else. The other mistake, a nice mistake the clinics are making, but still not able to convert patients, is to say, thank you very much for calling us, so that we can put together a better diagnosis and a better treatment plan for you. Let us know more about your situation. Perfect start, but they stop there. And the patient then may go to another clinic that has already answered stages 3, 4 and 5 for them. So don't stop it there at the diagnosis. Take it forward. But on the other hand, don't already just start away with price and we're the best clinic in the world. Clinic patients on average from a GCR survey, they need between 8 and 12 points of contact before they actually book into the clinic. We did a video on that last year, and I'm sure there's a blog post on there somewhere with that statistic, if you'd like to learn more about it. Great.
Maybe just to conclude, best practices, don't use attachments. Use rather links, then try to keep it short but still practical for patients. Prove your quality before you will present a patient with price and with booking options, and try to use multiple channels how to contact patients, for example LinkedIn, Facebook, phone call, email, whatever best suits the patient.
Yes, multiple, super. I forgot about that. Right, I'm going to hand it over to Maria.
So we've got another question from a clinic from Middle East, and the question is how to market my service if I'm not able to advertise. The 5 suggestions for that are mainly to, firstly, to contact everyone you know, whether it's your family, whether it's your friend or
enemies,
or even your ex-roommates, classmates. Try to make a friendly call to them and talk about your business, talk about your treatments, and try to ask them if they want to come into your clinic. And this is a very good tool for attracting your close people.
Yeah, I would just not even talk about business. Just call them up, say, I haven't spoken to you for years. How are you doing? Say, I'm doing this, this and this. Oh, I'm really sorry about what happened last night, that time in the bar 3 years ago. Would forget about it. And then if they ask, what are you doing? Simply say, I'm running this clinic and we treat this and this. And if they allow you to go further, take it forward. But it's good practice anyway in life to keep in touch with people. And by doing this, you want every single person that you know to know, like, and trust you as a clinic and to be the place to go to. That's how to do it. That's one of our advices. Go on, take it away. Sorry.
Exactly. Second suggestion is to contact every your past patient, just to make a follow-up call to make sure that the treatment was good. You can ask them how do they feel after the treatment, and you can ask them if they have anyone from family to recommend your clinic, or if they have any other problem to come to your clinic again. And this is it.
Yeah, I'd even add here as well, even patients that didn't turn out that well. Yeah. So simply contact them, work out a way. They say, I had the treatment, but I'm in pain now, 1 year later. I don't know if it was the best decision having treatment in your clinic. So let's sort that out, and maybe you then convert one of your least recommending patients into your biggest fan just by providing that extra service, because there's such a little amount of clinics in the world that actually do follow-up of patients after treatment. So important, it's a best practice, and if you're doing it, you're going to expand your base without even any marketing at all. And it's free.
Exactly. Third option is to contact your current patients and just friendly ask them for referrals, so they can talk about your clinic to their family and relatives. And you know that word of mouth is the best marketing for you, so this would work with your current patients who were treated well and are satisfied with your treatment, so they will be very happy to share this experience with others.
You make them like your biggest fan. They're like going to be your little ambassador walking around town saying, you are the clinic to go to. So make sure you have that. This is the key thing. Afterwards, you need to collect the photographs, testimonial, maybe some diagnostical information, a patient story, how their life was changed by this treatment. Keep it all together, and you can still use that even if the patient isn't walking around town every day saying, come to your clinic, come to this clinic. You can still use it in clinic as a case study to reach or persuade other patients that might be considering your clinic. Okay.
Super. Another option is to do external publishment. That means that you can publish educational content, whether it's research results, scientific papers, some case reports, or some fact-based informations. You can write a blog, which is of course not advertising but rather educational, so people who will read it can make themselves sure that you are expert in your area, and if they read it they just can see that you are good and they just walk into your clinic. And last but not least is third-party accreditations, for example GCR, so you can prove and demonstrate your quality through accreditation or any other kind of certification, and they can do this job for you, so they can promote your clinic. They are from another country, for example, and it's possible for them to advertise your clinic worldwide. So this is last option, not last, but
one of many.
One of many, yeah.
And I can schedule a personal call, certainly with any clinics that's dealing with the situation, and we can help you put together a plan that we can help you increase the level of patients reaching your area. That's part of GCR accreditation. That's what we're here for.
Exactly.
Okay, I go further then. Another question we got from a clinic in Hungary. They had the case where the patient went home and they weren't happy with the treatment. They had to come back and had to have, the whole treatment had to be redone. Not because the treatment was bad, but simply because aesthetically their friend said that it wasn't the way that it should have been, even though the patient themselves was quite happy. Strange situation. So I asked this doctor who did the treatment, I said, did the patient sign a form when they left the clinic that they were happy with the treatment, completely happy? He said, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we have one of these things. We tried to implement it years ago, but I think we stopped and it's not my job. So I said, what about the checklist? Do you have a checklist that you work through for every procedure in your clinic that they can tick off that this type of sheet was signed? He said, no, I don't have this. Can you send it to me? So of course I send it to him, and I will send a similar checklist now to all you guys who are watching that we use at GCR. But I'll just go for a quick, simple example. If you have a patient coordinator, for sure should have a checklist. It's another a little thing, but have you read the book by Atul Gawande?
I don't think
Checklist Manifesto. So fantastic book. If you haven't read the Checklist Manifesto by Atul Gawande, he's a surgeon, either heart surgeon or brain surgeon, I can't remember, but using checklists in the hospital to make a difference. But he also got the idea from airplanes at the beginning, that how a pilot goes into his cockpit and he does the checklist. Just simple paper checklist that double checks that everything is set before you fly off, and how the level of safety since implementing checklists into the airline industry has risen, to a huge, immense scale. And same thing in hospitals. And we should really implement it into all our processes. In GCR, we use a lot of checklists. Evernote is a great tool for using checklists. Or just simply use a Word document or some type of to-do app on the phone
With
for your
checkboxes.
staff with checkboxes. Yeah, simple. So patient coordinated checklist, which I'm going to send out as an example. I usually just write down the name of the patient, the date, but also important for me is the DISC profile. What type of personality is that patient? And their motivating factor, their hot button that drive them to have treatment in the clinic. And very important for me as well is how did the patient hear about my clinic and how did they choose it? 99% of patients will say they heard about your clinic through GCR. No, I'm joking. Hopefully one day soon it'll be like that, but always ask them. It's a very important thing so that you can optimize your lead channels. So meet and greeting the patient. Did they get the welcome pack? Did they sign the anamnesa? Have all the diagnostics been done before treatment? Has a photograph been done of that patient simply, in a pre-treatment stage? Always useful for case studies and for any external marketing. Then a patient coordinator is there to explain a timeline of exactly what's going to happen, and that patient then knows that patient coordinator is there to help the patient through every step of their treatment in the clinic, like a concierge in a hotel. Okay, so the patient goes in for doctor consultation, and when they come out, the patient coordinator is just checking, and I have this on checklist. Did you check that all fears, objections, and issues have been overcome after the meeting with the doctor? If no, I don't want treatment in your clinic. You're going to be there straight away. Patient coordinator is scheduling follow-ups to see in the future if they can reach that patient, which they often can. Patients sometimes don't after the first consultation make a decision. But if they say yes, great, and then the checklist is going to state, has the treatment been scheduled? Treatment plan been signed? Has the informed consent been signed? Informed consent in English means that the patient agrees that we perform invasive treatment on a patient. Was the treatment explained verbally? Even if you have care sheets, make sure that your treatment is always explained verbally. Medication is explained verbally. The number of visits, the length of every treatment is discussed, and then give it them in a sheet so that they've got a physical copy. And I mark it off that I gave a physical copy of what treatment will be done, how much it will cost, exactly what medication I will need. It's been checked, the patient has it. If you get into a court situation, all these things will really, really help. If a patient turns around, and tries to get back at your clinic for whatever reason.
In simple words, just make yourself sure that all your staff is doing the right step and at the right time with patients all
Perfect.
the time.
Yeah. So but the checklist is just a perfect tool to ensure that every person in your clinic is doing their job in the way that you want it to be done. And towards the end, you want to certainly check, has all payments been made? And you're checking, have they signed the document that they're happy with treatment? Signed any confidentiality, any about use of photographs, use of diagnostics, any patient outcomes that will be collected after treatment? Sign that the patient is willing to give you this information or is not willing. And I guess the point I'm trying to make is checklists can raise the level of services in your clinic immensely, and they don't cost anything. It increases facility efficiency, and that's what GCR is here to do. And this is a good thing about these webinars: give you ideas that don't cost any money, that will put you in the top 2% of clinics in the world. If you start doing things like this, patient will leave saying, "Wow, everything was covered. I was carried through the whole journey. It was just an amazing experience." And that's how you make your patient ambassador, by using a simple checklist. Okay. Whoa, we got anything else there?
That's all from us, I think.
That's all from us. It's a lovely sunny day. I know many of you, at least in this half of the world, are looking to go on holiday, and there may be less patients in your clinic, but it's also a good time to get down, think about your processes, so that when September starts and the wave starts again of patients coming into the clinics, you're ready to take your clinic to the next level. Any questions you may have?
Just write us on contact@gcr.com.
Don't forget you can schedule one-to-one calls. Accredited clinics can schedule one-to-one calls with any of our team, 15-minute calls using Calendly. And also, if you have any questions about material which we use in the webinar or for GCR, if you're an accredited clinic will happily send you whatever we have. From the research of 431,000 clinics in the world today, we just released stem cells 2 days ago, so that number's slightly risen. Bariatrics going out this week, huh?
Yeah.
So another couple of thousand will be added. Great. Hope to hear from you next week. See you soon.
Bye.